Hey everyone, welcome back to JDrama Today. In this video, we're diving into a major political story from Japan that's been gaining attention. One that's stirring debate, confusion, and even criticism among politicians and the public alike. It's about the Ishin Party's recent policy move and why their latest demand is causing waves in the world of Japanese politics. On the afternoon of the 16th, the Japan Innovation Party, also known as the Ishin Party, held its first official policy meeting. During that meeting, the party presented 12 major policy demands, focusing on two main goals, what they're calling a secondary capital plan and a social security reform. These two ideas were meant to define their policy direction going forward. But later that same evening, something unexpected happened. Hirofumi Yoshimura, one of Ishin's leading figures, made a bold statement that completely shifted the conversation. He declared that reducing the number of Diet members, in other words, cutting down the number of seats in Japan's national legislature, is the core issue and should be treated as the centerpiece of their political agenda. He even went as far as saying it should be implemented by the end of the year during the upcoming extraordinary Diet session. This sudden push took many by surprise. The Ishin Party announced that reducing the number of seats in the Diet would now be an absolute condition for forming any coalition, a strong stance that immediately drew criticism from both inside and outside political circles. One of the most notable reactions came from Ichiro Aizawa, chairman of the LDP's Electoral System Research Committee, who voiced his concerns on social media. On X, formerly known as Twitter, he wrote, "If we were to reduce the number of seats under the current system, it would mean even fewer seats in the regions, not just Osaka and Tokyo. Suddenly reducing the number of seats is out of the question." His message highlighted a real concern, that smaller or rural regions could lose even more representation in government, potentially deepening the urban-rural divide. Political commentator and entertainer Pakkun, known for his balanced and insightful views, also weighed in on the controversy. He mentioned the Commentator party's withdrawal from their coalition over disagreements regarding corporate and group donation restrictions. Pakkun suggested that Ishin's insistence on the Diet seat reduction might be a strategic move to avoid the same kind of deadlock that occurred with Commentator. He explained, Commentator withdrew because they were completely unable to move forward with politics and donations. To avoid a repeat of that, Ishin probably wants to put the topic of donations aside for now and focus on something more symbolic. Pakkun added that the push for cutting the number of Diet seats is a policy unique to the Ishin Party. He said, they've already built success in the regions and established their own brand, so they probably believe this is a condition that both their supporters and the public can accept. In other words, Ishin might be choosing a fight that strengthens their image, a clear, visible policy that distinguishes them from other parties. However, he also expressed some doubts about whether this idea will really resonate with voters across Japan. "I don't think the entire nation is obsessed with this issue," he said. "It hasn't been a key topic in recent elections, and it's not something we've seen discussed much on the political programs we cover." His point was simple. While Ishin might see it as a bold reform idea, most citizens probably aren't prioritizing a reduction in the number of lawmakers when thinking about the country's biggest challenges. Pakkun then went on to add an interesting observation. He explained that, compared to many European countries, Japan actually has fewer Diet members relative to its population. He said, "In a parliamentary system, the number of Diet members in Japan is by no means high. The public isn't particularly concerned about it. So Ishin's push for a reduction might just be a calculation, a move they think the ruling party can agree to without too much resistance." So, in essence, what's happening here is a mix of political strategy, image management, and timing. The Ishin Party is trying to position itself as a reform-driven force, the kind of party that challenges what it sees as excess or inefficiency in politics. But critics argue that the plan could backfire, especially if it ends up reducing representation in less populated areas, where voices are already limited. For many observers, this moment feels like a turning point for Ishin. They've built their reputation on reform and local success, especially in Osaka. But now, as they try to expand their influence on the national stage, they're facing tougher scrutiny. Some believe this bold move is an attempt to push their reformist identity even further, while others think it's a risky distraction from more pressing issues like economic recovery and social welfare. Regardless, one thing is clear: the topic has sparked nationwide debate. Should Japan really cut down on lawmakers when the workload for government officials and the complexity of policy decisions are only increasing? Or should the focus be on improving efficiency and transparency rather than reducing numbers? These are the kinds of questions now being asked, not only in political circles, but by everyday citizens watching this unfold. In the end, the Ishin Party's push to reduce the number of Diet seats is about more than just numbers. It's a symbolic move. It's about showing strength, control, and commitment to reform, even if it risks controversy. Whether that gamble pays off or not depends on how the public responds in the coming months. So what do you think? Should Japan have fewer lawmakers? Or is the real issue how those lawmakers use their positions to serve the people? Share your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. If you found this story interesting, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to JDrama Today, and turn on notifications so you don't miss more stories that explore Japan's entertainment, culture, and current events with heart and honesty. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.